Who am I to walk into a top producer's office and be like, hey, I'm a nobody, give me everything. So for me, I just came up with a long list of people that were just as experienced as I was and inexperienced.
Yeah.
And I just treated them like we were equals and contacting them. And I always saw a lot of potential in you as a real estate agent. So I was like, not just because you were part of the team that you were in and like the company, but you as an individual throughout our conversations. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Chris Reyes Unofficial Podcast. We have our guest, Eduardo Mendiola. I've known this young man for a few years now, ever since I was a real estate agent. So I just wanted to have him on this podcast, share a little bit about himself, his story, and just kind of have a good conversation. Just two guys talking about real estate, finance, and whatnot.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for having me on. Definitely my pleasure, because especially one thing that he mentioned, I have been knowing him since he was a youngin in the field. And I would say that truly, right, because he's been knowing me as well since I was an assistant. So good times. Now we're here a couple years later.
How did you even start as an assistant?
I actually, I never really wanted to get into real estate as far as being an agent or full-on real estate, right? I always liked the construct of buying and selling. And it started sooner when I was in high school. I always bought and sold items, maybe such as shoes, clothing. And then I thought about it in real estate because I would always see videos of people doing the same thing, but with bigger quantities of figures, right? Now, instead of buying and selling a shoe, you're fixing up a property to sell it. So that was my thing, right? I wanted to get into investments. Was intrigued at the fact that somebody could buy a property, fix it up, and then sell it for more money, right? But as far as me getting into an assistant position, I was thinking, I'm like, all right, I don't have no idea how to buy and sell property. I have no idea how real estate works. I have no idea how a business runs. So let me kind of put myself in a position where I'm able to learn, right? Learn more from people that are already doing the business, working in the field, maybe working in an office that already has those people. And boom, perfect idea, become an assistant, right? I get two things out of that. One, I get paid from it. Then two, it's kind of like an internship, right? I get free knowledge, even though payment might not be the best, but now all that knowledge I'm able to get, now I use it for my business or sharing it to other people that want to use the same business construct. But I started working as an assistant in 2021. Pretty much that's when I started working with David Dominguez, worked with him for, I would say, 2 years and just learned from there, learned how to work on transactions, learned how to talk to people like lenders, attorneys. I remember you always coming to the office too. So I was like, hey, I know him. But, through time, that's how we kind of got the process going as far as being an assistant.
Yeah.
So it's been good. Been some time now.
And what was the transition like going from assistant to real estate agent?
I would say I took too long to do it, right? I feel like my biggest thing in my head was I never wanted to be an agent, right? Quote unquote, a realtor. I always just loved the real estate field. I always loved about, buying, selling properties, investing into properties, multi-units, all that good stuff. So my transition was I just wanted more, right? I was in a position where I was working 9 to 5 as an assistant. And part of me was thinking, I'm like, all right, the only reason I didn't go to college was because I didn't want to work a 9 to 5. And look at me now working a 9 to 5. So I'm just like, all right, Eduardo, pick it up. Let's get your license and start working on these clients that, have been reaching out to you. Even though I wasn't licensed, I still had people reach out like, hey, how do I get my real estate license? Hey, how do I buy a home? How do I sell a home? And I just did referrals from there. But my thinking is, hey, there's a lot of opportunity cost if I don't get my license. So now getting my license, transitioning with that, it's been a little bit tough, I would say, because it's kind of like, deleting everything you have been knowing for like the past couple of years or past couple of months, now refreshing that and putting that to make your own business, right? So there's a lot of things that I went into the field thinking that maybe, oh, hey, I know it all. I've been in the field for a while. I know how to help a person buy and sell. I know how to manage a team. But in reality, I don't, right? It's all through experience. And that's kind of what this year has been showing me because I'm like, all right, I got my license last year in September 2024. Didn't go full time until late December, right? That's when I decided to step down from the assistant position, go full time in real estate, and just go from there. Two focuses: sales, helping people buy and sell a home, and two, what I like to call it is education, right? Education towards maybe somebody looking to join the field, looking to become a real estate agent, but doesn't know how to start. Because my thing was, I don't want somebody to enter the field in my position, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to, schedule all your appointments, schedule all your business. Even following simple things such as KPIs. I've never learned that until I met you. Now showing that to the other person that might come into the field, just so that way, they could grow. They go from there.
Yeah.
So I like that. That's one thing I would say for you is thank you, bro. He was the one that pushed me to get my license because he would be the one calling me. even before, hey bro, you licensed yet? Hey bro, you licensed yet? Sending me thank you cards back when he was in neighborhood home loans. I still have that picture of that card, the little Dunkin' gift card in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, I'm not even licensed yet, and I have Mr. Chris Reyes over here sending me mailers, sending me texts, calls every time, and I would answer. I remember Monday at 9 or 10 a.m. every Monday, so I'm like, let me just answer. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a big push. You know, you come into this field thinking that, you know, not everybody's here to support you, or not everybody's here to pretty much uplift you or guide you, right? But it's not just the mentors that are not going to help you, or it's not just, you know, your friends, family. It could be business partners, you know, or friends. Because I met Chris as a friend, then we became business partners. But his thing was, you know, get your license, push to do more. So now you could have sent me leads, you know. So I got you now.
Yes, sir.
Got you.
No, I think, I mean, for me, the way initially, I'll just be 100% transparent. The way that I built my business originally was I didn't have, I mean, as a loan officer, nobody trusts you at first. Everyone knows who's who closes how much, who works where, who's their team. So I felt like, you know, who am I to go to a top producer and be like, hey, you know, you're closing 10, 15 million. You've met a bunch of great lenders. You probably ever done like past client events, and they sponsor your Zillow and they give you referrals. Who am I to walk into a top producer's office and be like, hey, you know, I'm a nobody, give me everything. So for me, I just came up with a long list of people that were just as experienced as I was and inexperienced. And I just treated them like, you know, like we were equals, and contacting them. And I always saw a lot of potential in you as a real estate agent. So I was like, not just because you were part of the team that you were in and like the company, but you as an individual through all our conversations. So for me, like, even till this day, like, you know, I had a real estate agent ask me, like, what do you find valuable from a realtor? Like, what do you ask for your realtors? I don't expect you to be closing, you know, 3-4 deals a month. I just want someone that is ethical, you know, is competent. And even if you're incompetent, just be aware that you're incompetent and like move accordingly in a way where it's like some people are incompetent and they just aren't aware of it and they just cause trouble. So I just want people that are, you know, ethical, somewhat competent, or incompetently aware that they're incompetent. And also someone that's pleasant. That's my biggest thing more than anything. You know, there's a lot of people that are unpleasant. Dude, I had a real estate agent that we connected years ago. Dude is closing hundreds of deals a month. He had set something up with me and my team, like to collaborate in some sort of way. I completely stood him up because during that first meeting, I didn't like how he talked to me. Right? It's like, I don't care that you're closing this many transactions and you've been in the business for this long. It's like, you're not going to talk to me like that.
And it's
like,
more of like a ignorant type of statement, or what was it? It
was like, you know, I was new. And like I had a meeting with him, and to be fair, now that I look back at it, I probably came off like an asshole, where it's like I was just talking about myself, and then but he, like, the way that he like told me was like, he straight up told me something like, you know, well, that's great, but I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, when you meet with a real estate agent, you ask him this and that, and then like I'm like, dude, like, you could have told me that politely, like you didn't have to like. I don't know, it was just too much for me, where it's like, I appreciate you, I respect you, but, you know, at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to kiss your ass for business, even if you're all this or that. Like, you know, there's thousands of real estate agents in the state of Illinois. Like, it's just not worth my time. And then through, like, time also, there's people that, you know, aren't even closing that much, and they're just unpleasant to work with. You know, this year alone, I've had over 50 real estate agents refer me. So I came up with a list of everyone that referred me. And then I was so thankful. I'm so lucky to be like, hey, like, everyone on this list, I don't even want to work with them. Like, I only want to work with, out of these 60 people, I only want to work with 40. So, yeah. And
I kind of see the bigger construct of that is more of like, you know, you don't just take business, you choose what type of business you want to work with. And that's really the biggest reality, right? You have to choose what type of business you want to work with. If not, you're just going to have business come to you at the front door and you're just going to take it, right? And now you don't have no structure with that. Now you don't have any next steps, really, because you're just working in the business and not working on the business. And that's something I actually learned from you, the difference between that, right? Working on the business and working in the business. Right, you got to make sure that, you know, those type of things, following up all the agents that you already had relationships with, it's kind of more so like working in the business, right? Because then now, what are the other agents doing, right? The ones that you haven't contacted, What are they kind of seeing? They're just waiting for Chris to call, and now you're just here. But no, I do get your point though. It's just making sure that you do know what you're working with, you're liking what you're working with, and you gotta love what you do at the end of the day. You can't just be in a position where it's like, hey, I already know I'm in real estate, maybe as a lender or realtor, I'm gonna just take this shitty, excuse my profanity, right? But this bad maybe business partner, this bad lead, right? If it doesn't work for you, that's cool. Now you create systems, because maybe if that agent didn't work for you and you had a team member, hey, maybe go try working with him, because you never know. Because even for mine, that's why I made the introduction to you when I first started getting agents, because I'm like, hey, I already know how it goes, right? An agent gets onboarded. They may not have the best introduction with the realtor at the office or a realtor that they meet on social media. So let's cut that out. Connect them over Mr. Chris Reyes and then go from there. And it has been a good, helpful tool, because a lot of agents come back to me like, hey, I talked with Chris. Now I'm working on these certain things for my business or looking to do more content. And it's all progress.
Yeah.
From there.
No, and 100%. You kind of just got to set boundaries, because same thing with, like, I assume you with your business with clients, where it's like, like, for example, clients don't want to get pre-approved, but they want to view homes or whatnot. Obviously once or twice may be fine. I know some agents do that, but you can't do that, like, constantly. You have to, like, kind of put your foot down and be like, hey, this is how it's going to go. Or else, you just don't work with that client, because I haven't done it in a while, but, I've had clients before where it's like, especially in the very beginning of my business, where it's like I feel like I'm chasing the client, I'm like bugging them, and they don't really want to work with me.
Yeah.
And when I should just be spending my time, energy, and resources elsewhere.
Yes. And you brought up a good point too, as far as viewing the properties without, let's say, maybe an agreement or pre-approval. It's kind of like that, making sure that you're firm on your business and the process, how it goes, right? I'm not saying a person that messages you or calls you looking to buy a home that they're not educated. I'm sure they're well educated, they're looking to buy a property. My thing is more of like, we got to make sure that we're firm with, hey, these are how the steps goes, because we don't want to be a disservice to them either. If I had clients reached out that, hey, I want to go view a property that's $300,000, of course, I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to go out there, drive, show you the property as it is. My thing is, I feel like it's going to be a disservice if, one, you're not qualified, or two, I haven't even brought the introduction about being qualified. Now, let's say you love the property, everything about it is beautiful, car garage is amazing, but then you don't qualify for it. Now we run numbers and I waste your time. That's something that I don't want to do for a client, right? So I know a lot of clients mention like, hey, why do you want to go view properties? Why do you have to get pre-approved? It's kind of like buying a car, right? It's a little bit different, but the same construct. You're not just going to keep looking at maybe a Lamborghini or a Ferrari and then you're qualified for a Toyota, right? It's not a bad idea. It's just that we don't want to kind of bring your hopes up for that Lamborghini or a Ferrari if you can't really qualify for it. And it's not a bad idea either. It's not a bad construct, because we want to help the buyer or anybody at the end of the day. Maybe they're not qualified for that right now. Maybe in 6 months they are. We got to work on their credit, income, whatever it is. We want to get them into that property or car. Not car, but property.
No, but totally, man. I feel like also part of it is just having systems and processes. And that's how you're able to scale your business. Because if you have no systems or processes, you're just kind of doing whatever the day brings you.
Yes.
Rather than you controlling the day.
Yes.
Like for me, 90% of my clients, I apply online. Very few times am I doing it over the phone or am I doing it in person.
Okay.
I just don't think that it's scalable. And on top of that, like my biggest focus is keeping things as predictable as possible. I think about it as like building like a 5-star McDonald's, where it's like you go to the drive-through, you talk to the person at the drive-through, you pay at the first window, you get your food at the third window, and that's it. And when you go to McDonald's, you know what you're gonna get, and you know what the experience is gonna be like. So what I used to do a lot in the beginning was like, hey, the client wants to meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. in person at like here. And then someone else wants me to meet them 12 p.m. Like over here. And so I'm just running around, not controlling my day. But for me, one, I don't ever take appointments before 12 o'clock, right? And then on top of that, like if I'm going to take an appointment, I always want the client to apply beforehand. And I think a lot of people, especially in my opinion, newer agents, have this impression that, doing it on the spot is like, the go-to thing to do. When in reality, it's not, because one, you're rushing the pre-approval process. You're not letting us review their credit properly, their bank statements properly, their income properly. Whereas if I always give the clients the opportunity to meet in person, but that's typically once they have the pre-approval. And it's much more professional in that way. Like I'm not fumbling on my computer, like looking at the documents, kind of piecing it together. It's like we meet, okay, this is what your monthly payment is. This is what your cash to close is.
Yeah.
And this is why you qualify for what you qualify for.
Okay.
And, but yeah, definitely it's about like giving the client and then the referral partner the best service for sure.
No, definitely, because you always want to make sure that you are prepped for it rather than just bringing them to the office. Kind of like Nancy, you know, we're meeting her Thursday and she's coming from, I don't know where, Illinois. Like, you know, I saw the Google Maps. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, that's a perfect example, right? Somebody else might be 5 minutes from Berwyn, but she's going to be an hour and 30. We don't want to come and bring her to the office, pretty much just waste her time and just be a disservice to her. We want to make sure that, you know, like let's say your case scenario, you already reviewed what type of property she's looking into. You already reviewed some of her numbers. Now it's just making sure that we meet with her, guide her through finalizing a process or a plan that we want to do, and go from there. You know, and we hope to do that in like hopefully hour and a half, just so that way she could drive home too. But no, that's a perfect example as well. So we're gonna make sure that we're just ready for that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a really great example because let's say worst case scenario, she doesn't qualify, right? Why in the world would I have her drive all the way over here for her and then just to tell her, oh, you don't qualify?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of experience is that as a consumer? That might discourage her in the future from trying again.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to make it as smooth and like stress-free as possible. Like for me, and then at that appointment, like, you know, ultimately, whether she decides to pull the trigger or whatnot, we're able to give her options, and if it makes sense for her, then she can go ahead and move forward. If she doesn't, then it's okay. But at the end of the day, we gave her the power. It's like, hey, you know, like for example, sometimes I've had clients where I pre-approve for 200, 300, or sometimes even less, and they're like, oh, well, there's nothing out there for that. Or like, okay, well, at the end of the day, that's your decision. Like, I'm just going to give you the tools. Whether you choose to use them or whatnot, that's up to you. But it's like, it doesn't make sense to kind of just have the client waste all their time, drive over here, drive over there.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, you don't even qualify.
Yeah.
Like, I could just tell you over the phone.
And that's the thing too, right? We're not for sure. I know she did qualify for the single family, but in the case that, let's say we're not sure, right? We would still want to do that in person, because being in person, being in front of the person that you're helping matters, right? You know, I'm not gonna be like a maybe a therapist or a doctor and do everything virtually. No, I gotta have my clients come to the office, meet with us at the clinic, you know, so I could better help them, right? It's very different from maybe doing a pre-approval over the phone, because you could have done that easily. You could have sent her the application, you could have called her, hey, here's where you're at, or you're good to go, or you're not good to go. But what's that really? You know? At least now, hopefully later on, maybe she doesn't qualify for what she wants, or even if she is able to qualify, she's gonna remember that. Hey, this is where we started. Probably she doesn't even want to drive the hour and a half. She might not, but she does want to because now she wants to go into the buying process, learn from you, or just kind of see where she stands, right? Rather than just being told no or being told that you're too far, and just going from there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think a lot of people, when they hear like application online, they think that they don't get the opportunity or like to improve their situation, where it's like several times I've met with clients in person where it's like I get everything and they don't end up qualifying. Yeah. So like, because I see, so to me it's not really just about like, you know, whether you qualify or you don't. For if we meet in person, I just want to be able to look at your loan application and be like, hey, this is why. Like, and then I could just show them like the numbers. It's like, hey, look at your pay stubs. Year to date, you made $36,000. That means you make $3,000 a month. Even if you had zero debt, you qualified for a $1,500 payment. Yeah. And so that's why you qualify for what you qualify. And they're like, that makes sense. And then so like, I don't like to just tell a client no. I'm very like, hey, this is why. And then sometimes the unfortunate thing is that there is no game plan sometimes. You know, sometimes it is like, hey, you really mess up your credit. And it's not like your credit cards are really really high. It's just like, bro, you didn't pay them. Like, you didn't pay anything. And, you know, you have a lot of debt. And you make no money. It's like, the game plan is like, you need Jesus. Like, I can't help you. I'm sorry. Like, I think that's one of the things that I don't like. Yeah. It's like when people are like, oh yeah, just come to the office and we'll set up a game plan. I think sometimes it's over-promising a little bit, where it's like, maybe we can, but not always. Like, cause I don't want to like tell you like, hey, I'm going to turn your life around for you, because I can't care more than you. No, definitely. And I think it's not more of like, you know, giving them a game plan, but educating them, right? Educating them. If they qualify, then you're educating them why they qualified and, you know, where they could go.
And if they didn't qualify, you're educating them once again on why they didn't qualify and what they could do in order to qualify, right? Because not every lead is the best. It happens, right? I have people that reached out a couple weeks ago looking to buy a property. Fortunately, they won't be able to qualify now, but maybe during tax season, they could, right? They got to do their new taxes. But those type of things and those type of clients are real people, and that's what we got to understand too, that we're helping real people in the city, in the suburbs, whatever the case is. And I always put myself in the other position too, because I remember when my family was buying a property, they didn't qualify the first time they went with a lender. Then they started going with another person. And I remember going into the showings with them, seeing all the properties, and it was a good moment, But for us, it was like, all right, we need to move out because we have to, right? We stayed in the basement, we didn't have anywhere else to go, so we're just looking at different options, and kind of seeing throughout that whole process of going through a roller coaster. We qualified, then we didn't qualify, then we couldn't find the properties, then we got offers outbid, right? It gets discouraging. Then I kind of put that to maybe a new home buyer, first time home buyer, or probably a buyer looking to buy again because maybe they bought 20 years ago and it's not the same market. Well, that's why our job is to make sure that we educate these people, because at the end of the day, you're going to buy property soon too. I'll buy property soon eventually for our home, right? Now we're going to be in that position as well. We either going to help ourselves get resource and help ourselves through the process, or somebody else is going to be a resource to us, and we're going to be in a position that maybe Nancy's going to be in now, or any other first-time homebuyer is going to be in.
Yeah, totally. And I just had to shoot a quick text real quick, and the reason why I did it was this client is selling and buying, and they're under contract. Okay. So I know that for him, not picking up his call is really stressful, right? Mm-hmm. So what is it to just shoot him a text and be like, hey, I'll call you back at this time, right? Yeah. That is gonna give him so much more relief than just what's going on, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think a lot of times it's easy to, especially to be honest, as a mortgage lender, there's months where I've taken 60 loan applications. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people would call me and be like, hey, what's going on with Steve or Bob? And I'm like, Bob, who the hell is Bob?
Yeah. Bob, so.
Because I'm dealing with so many people.
Yeah.
But sometimes you really gotta especially as a loan officer, you get desensitized because you get so many files in, so many people in, and then a lot of times we don't see these people face to face, so there's no face to the name. Mm-hmm. But you gotta remember, hey, at the end of the day, this is a family, right? And they're not. This isn't a transaction or a unit or volume. Mm-hmm. This is a living space. Yes. They're thinking about their children. Maybe they have a bad landlord. Mm-hmm. Maybe their place just flooded. Yeah. Maybe they just got kicked out. Maybe their lease is expiring, and we have to treat them accordingly.
Yes, of course, and that's the beauty of this field, really. Because I know it could be stressful, right? Working with maybe different clients or different files, different applications, right? But at the end of the day, it goes back to where you said, systems. You want to make sure that you're a 5-star McDonald's service. And if not, maybe you're a 3-star or 4-star. Well, live with the thought that maybe that family that messaged you about buying a property ain't going to be able to buy, right? But that's not a thought that I want to live with. So I will make sure that, making sure we follow up with them. If they're not able to qualify, we let them know why, and we set up a game plan with them. Game plan as far as, if you do this for 6 months, build your credit, work on bringing your income down or bringing your income up, your debts down, whatever the case is, work from there. But it's a good point that you actually did bring up. I don't know how to explain the point, but it's just more of doing everything in the moment that kind of disorganizes you for the long run. And it's let's say you get a call right now and we're doing this, maybe somebody could be like, all right, let me take it, because maybe they're just anxious and they're going to forget later. They just want to get it done right now. But I'm learning that that's something that it's really, really bad for you, actually. Because now, let's say I'm driving or I'm with a consultation or I'm with a buyer and I got all these things calling me, right? All these people calling me, all these messages, all these emails. Unfortunately, I can't be present to them, but I got to discipline myself that, hey, I'll be, attentive to it, just like you messaged the guy back that you're going to call him back. I'll be attentive to it, but then I got to be disciplined to make sure I get it done later. Right? And that's the thing where you don't want to keep having these things add up. And that's why some people, let me just respond to this right now. Let me just send this out. And then, just so they could forget. But then you kind of lose yourself in that disorganized structure of things.
Yeah, no, and I think I totally agree on that especially with time blocks when it comes to prospecting.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a certain task, I don't care if you're an underwriter, if you're a processor, or you're a client, or this or that. This is my time to get new business. And so just, at the end of the day, there's probably nothing too urgent that can't wait 3 hours.
Yeah.
Probably nothing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not a surgeon, so I'm not dealing with people bleeding out, right? Yeah. So you can wait 3 hours, and if you can't, then go work with someone else, because, I've learned that you can't be available at beck and call and like whenever people demand you, because I feel like that's, in my opinion, how kind of you get burnt out.
Yeah.
When you just don't, like, when you just let the day like rule you, like you're not controlling the day, whatever it does.
Yeah, yeah.
And yesterday I was talking to a realtor, and she was like telling me about how like a lender was unpleasant with her client, and at the end of the day, she's the one facing the client, so it's it comes off bad as her. And you think where that comes from is like when you're being unpleasant to your clients, it's just because you're getting tired of what you're doing, right? You just don't enjoy it anymore. So you always gotta make sure that you're doing your career in a way where it's still enjoyable and it's not like, just kind of draining you.
No, definitely, because then it reflects to your business at the end of the day. Let's say you're just, you're stressful from showings, appointments, you got to write offers, you have different clients calling you. And then now that one client calls you that maybe, you just haven't been talking to for a while, and then they finally reach out, but your headspace where you're at, you're just immediate, right? You're immediate. Let me immediately respond to this. Let me immediately answer the phone. And your tone and energy are different, right? Maybe you could be in a stressful state of mind. Now, when you call the client, you're in a stressful state of mind, and they get that, right? Somebody told me before, it's like, I think it was David actually. He always told me, it's like, all right, bro, when you're making calls, make sure you're making these calls so they know that you're smiling at on the other line, right? You don't want to make calls that are like, oh, like, hello, what do you want? Or let's say I just got an argument with like an agent or a client or whatever, or a female,
with
my girl, I'm not going to call my client and be like, what do you want? Right? I want to call my client when I'm ready and I'm making sure I'm good. But then it goes back to making sure that you're organized with yourself.
That's always good, man. Which week?
This week, well, we got the video, got some clients I'm working with, got one pre-approved yesterday, so got to send out some properties. Scheduling out showings, I got to do that. Just getting back in the game, bro. Getting back in the game. I was out this year.
Yeah. How was you already wrapped up your first year in real estate, right?
Yeah, I wrapped it up, I want to say a month ago or a couple of weeks ago. It's been a journey, bro. It's been a journey. That's why I want to say, like, this has been one of the best years / worst years, but more so the best, because you learn from the worst moments, right? So that's why I love it so much. But this year kind of went like a trial run, right? I was a little bit all over the place. I was unorganized. I wasn't true to my CRM. I wasn't true to my KPIs. And that's me being honest, right? Now, but the biggest thing that I was doing is I was just taking business. Hey, looking to buy, I got you. Looking to sell, I got you. Or looking to become a realtor, I got you. Or does me in person help you with your business, or does me in person help you buy your property or help sell? I was just, constantly taking in business, which for me, I did get burned out. I'm not gonna lie, because it was constant business with no system in place. So now I didn't even know, oh, what's the client's name that I met last week? I didn't, because I didn't have a CRM to follow up on, or I didn't have those cues to be like, all right, I got to make sure that I contact, maybe Chris, Leo on these days, and then boom, go from there. I didn't have that. But now everything's an experience, right? You grow from, let's say, coaches, mentors, seeing other people's business. You as well, too. Even being a lender, I still learn a lot from your business and how you run it to then run my own business, right? Things I learned is holding KPIs, definitely, being disciplined with them, and truly being outgoing, right? Because you can't have a lot of business and shoot to want to have a lot of business if you're not going to be outgoing and getting that business, right? Maybe one day God blesses you and here's 10 pre-approved leads, but you're not outgoing, you're not going to take all of them. Realistically, you'll probably only take 2, because it's just all in the mentality that you want to go in. And that's something that I learned this year, all mentality, right? So as far as this year being one of those that, like, hey, it's my first year in real estate, I'm grateful for it, because now the second year is I already know what I messed up on or what I could have done better, where I could have tracked my business more or my agents on the team. Now for the next year is just shooting to triple it, but more organized now, organized, right? Because I remember I told you too, I think you had mentioned to me like, oh, like how much are you looking to do your first year? I didn't really have a number. I was shooting for like everything, right? And that's fine too, but you also got to set realistic goals and results, right? That's something else I learned from you too, the difference between goals and results. It's like going to the gym, right? Your goal is not to lose 30 pounds. That's the result. You're going to lose 30 pounds. Your goal is to go to the gym every day, condition, work on your bicep, work on everything. Those are the daily goals. Now, I took that to the heart, and I'm like, all right, my result is getting maybe 20 agents under my belt, helping 20 agents with their business, or maybe closing 30 to 40 transactions, or 35. And you told me always set numbers, right? So let's do 35. Now, with that in place, I got to make sure that I work towards it, rather than just hoping and thinking that I'm going to close so much, and I don't have anything to track it, right? So I would say that. Just keep pushing. Just to keep pushing.
Hell yeah. No, I think that's pretty badass because, it's easy to like set a goal and just think like, oh, like this is the goal that I want to do. But if you don't have like a game plan towards that goal, then it doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I think my goal next year is to do at least 100 units, and I feel like I have a really, really concrete plan in place where I'm going to implement that. So in the last 12 months, I've done around 50 transactions.
Yeah.
So my goal is out of those 50 transactions, just get 2 transactions out of them. Okay. So that could be from the past client. Yeah. That could be from the buyer's agent again, or from the listing agent. But that's not that hard if you think about it. Yeah. Because I could still continue to build my new book of business and the new agents that I want to be in business with while I'm doing that. So it's very like, that's to me, that's at least 50 units. If I at least from the buyer's agent perspective, where it's like, it's at least 50 units. Yeah. But if I could get 2, that's 100 units. And that's my goal.
Good. That's good. And I like how you track it too. Because I always learned that from you as well. It's like, you always got to think over the years. Because you were already thinking about next year, probably by February this year and shit. So it's like, that's the thing that you always got to make sure that you're entering the field with, whether you're a lender, attorney, real estate agent, videographer, shout out a little bit back there. But it's the same thing because it's all a business. It's just really on how you're going to structure it, right? And how far you really want to see yourself going. That's really the biggest thing. So I see yourself, or I see you, sorry to interrupt, I see you as somebody that wants to do a lot more. So now you're setting these systems in place, right? What would you tell somebody that maybe is looking to do the same thing, but they don't have the systems in place, or they don't have that structure to maybe their life or their business or whatever the case is?
I think the biggest thing is just find someone that's already doing what you're doing and just like blindly like follow them. Like where it's like, don't question it, don't do this or that, and just like 100% do what they're telling you. And that's like very cliche advice, but it's very true. Yeah. A lot of the reason why I'm doing well is because of the professional coaching I'm in, and I haven't stopped doing what I'm doing, what I've been taught since day one. Like this morning, I called my pre-approved clients. I don't know if you heard, like in the conversation that I had with Alex, I was like, hey, by the way, I talked to Kenyana. That client got pre-approved like in the summer, and then she ghosted us. But she's pre-approved. This Wednesday morning, I called pre-approved buyers. So I'm just disciplined about like following what my coaches and mentors told me to do, and that's what I'm working on. So that's the biggest piece of advice. Like, and for example, my regional manager, he's gonna do 70 million this year. And his piece of advice for me one time was, he told me something along the lines of, hey, Chris, like, you're really smart. Like, I feel like 20% of the time you're a genius, and then 80% of the time you're just scrambling around. And I think that if you were just a genius 80% of the time and you just scramble 20% of the time, you'd be doing way better. And just stop thinking. And then, like, literally, like, I have stopped thinking. Like, I don't think. And then he finds it hilarious, but it's true. He was like, oh, why did this happen? I don't want to get into it, but I did something that I wasn't supposed to do. And it wasn't bad. It was just something that I wasn't supposed to do. It was,
so it was bad?
No. Like, I just...
I get you.
It resulted in business. And like a closed deal. And I was like, well, I wasn't thinking. You told me not to think.
Which I think, I mean, it's true, but at that point, it's like, I mean... you got in trouble before.
Well, the thing is, it was like, I'll tell you. So I closed Justin's loan. Technically, I wasn't supposed to close his loan. Technically, it's supposed to be like it can't close under me because I'm his manager.
And then it's like Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, it's nothing bad, right? It was just something about like guidelines or whatnot. So it's not like I was out here doing fraudulent stuff or like breaking the rules. Well, I guess I technically broke the rules, but not in a negative way, where it's like I was being malicious. But it was like, he told me he wants to buy a house. All right, let's get it done. Like, I didn't stop to think, oh, well, he's my employee. And like, I was just like, let's get this stuff done. Let's just the flow. He wants a house, let's get him a house.
But let's say now I mean, it's just experience at that point. It's not like you off somebody or something, or like fraud once again. But it's just you going through, maybe making that little small mistake and going from there. Yeah. But I do like your idea of thinking, because I've heard it somewhere where it's like, overthinking is a killer of success and a killer of action. Because you overthinking and you constantly thinking about one thing that you want to do, literally just pushes you away from doing it. If you're like, all right, I want to go for a run, Then you start thinking about what you're gonna wear. If you gotta eat something before, you gotta drink water, or what like you just thinking for no reason. Just go out for the run, go do it. You'll feel 10 times better coming back from it, and then you'll actually be able to think. But I do see that with a lot of agents and myself as well, because it came to a point where you overthink about a lot of things. Maybe it could be a story that you wanted to post. Maybe it could be about a video that you wanted to do. Maybe it could be about like I want to do this to push my business, but overthinking on it, you're just going to be pushing yourself not to do it. You can't be like that.
100%. And that's so I did a webinar this month, and I did an event this Friday, and like one of my goals was to do an event a month.
Okay.
And I did do that, and for this event, I almost wasn't going to do an event for December.
Yeah.
And I thought of this idea. Actually, funny enough, I saw a lender post like, "Oh, would you guys come to a networking event at a cigar lounge?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Why are you asking people? Just do it." You know what I'm saying?
You're trying to get like, yes, I'll go.
It's like, just do it, and then if people come, people come.
Yeah.
But I was like, I told myself I was gonna do an event, and I couldn't think of any ideas. So I was like, that seems like a good idea.
That's the one you're doing for December?
Yeah, so that's my event for December. And so same thing with the webinars was like, okay, well, I didn't even come up with the presentation with the webinar until the night before. And I think it was really great. I think I did a really great job on that webinar. But I wasn't going to stop and think like, oh, like, is this slide perfect or like this or that? I was just like, just do it. Like,
Just do it.
There's no thinking. There's, potential, you can't really measure it until like after the fact.
Yeah.
Like you can't do an event and I was like, oh, I could have potentially had 30 people. It's like, well, let's say you had 30 people register and only 20 people showed up, then the potential is that 30 people could have shown up. But why didn't those whole 30 people show up?
And
So
why
it's
only
like
20 did?
Yeah. So it's like, just do it, bruh.
Yeah, because then, which I kind of see your position or your perspective on that, because then if not, you're going to be finding excuses and excuses and excuses and excuses and excuses. And that's not how business really runs, or not even business. I think that's just not how life should be ran, full of excuses, full of what ifs, what if I did this, or I potentially could have done this, or hey, should I do this or should I do something else? I mean, it's just going to kill you at the end of the day. I think that's going to burn you out more than just taking random phone calls or texts and just working on that stuff, because you sleep with that. You go to sleep with that mind.
Just straight thinking.
Just straight thinking, So piece of advice. I was telling myself too, because I did have that. Just stop thinking and not dumb thinking.
Just stop thinking. No thinking.
Just stop thinking. More action.
No thinking all 2026.
Yes, no thinking all 2026. That should be it. # no thinking.
A little birdie told me that you're married now.
I'm married. Not another 10 years, probably.
Not another 10 years? Why wouldn't you do it shorter? Maybe like 5, 4?
No, I would do it shorter. I always just had this construct of marriage that you got to make sure that, or at least as a man perspective, you got to have your business set, everything ready before you commit to marriage and kids. Right?
You don't think you're set already?
Huh?
You don't think you're set? I mean, you have your career, you have your building.
We could always do better.
You have a Mercedes. What else could a man have?
What else could a man have? A more consistent business, maybe team members, maybe assistants, maybe like I want to be in a position where I have a business consistently running in the case that I could make it to the office or not, right? And that's not too far of a reach. My thing is, I don't want to also be, I like to say the word disservice, right? But I don't want to be a disservice to family as well, where it's like I'm constantly working, and I don't have time to maybe help my wife at home or help the kid grow up or be there for those moments, right? Because I never had those moments growing up. It was always my dad maybe working in a different field. I don't really see him until late at night. So it was just every day going through that motion. And that's something that I don't want to reflect onto the next generation of Mendiolas. I'll go from there. But how about you, bro? I know, what's in your mind? What's in your mind with that?
Life is crazy, bro.
It is.
I think a lot of stuff happens and you don't even expect it.
No, definitely. And even with that, like marriage and a kid, you never expect it truly, but you always want to make sure that you're set before to not have any regrets with that, right? It's a big move. Now you're not just feeding yourself, but you're feeding 2 other people. Maybe 3 if you got twins, I don't know. But that's the biggest gist of it. I know a lot of people, especially in our culture, just get kids when they're younger. They don't even have a set business. They don't have anything set. They don't even have a set car, house, whatever it is, and they're just working through the motions. Which every family is different. Every relationship is different. I just never personally agree with that, because now, what's the kid to you in a couple years? They're not gonna have all of the things that you wish to provide. So make those sacrifices now before you go to that. That's my thing. You know, I want to make the sacrifices now, so later on, I just have that free will of taking care of a family, growing a family, while taking care of my baby, which is my business, right? And go from there. So
No, for sure. I mean, for me, the thing is, I feel like right now, not that I'm set, but I feel like, I mean, like in the last 2 years, I've done over 20 million in volume. And I have a salary now. I have a good credit score. So it's like, I think that anything that I get or is more so of a want than a need. So I feel like I have everything that I need. So I feel like that's why I'm okay with having a girlfriend now, because I wasn't always there. Like I don't think that I should have had a girlfriend until I was like in a position where it's like, now it's not so much like working because I need to. Well, obviously I still need to work because if I stop working, then the business stops coming.
Yeah.
But I'm not like in struggle mode anymore.
Yes.
But I feel like right now I'm in like flourish mode. So, you know, like this morning, I spent $1,400 on cigars for them on Friday. And it's like, you know, I wasn't always in that position where it's like I could just spend like fucking a couple thousand on cigars and not really like worry about it. And so I feel like I've gotten closer to that. I think for me, more so like prior to marriage or whatnot. I think it's just a matter of, you know, getting to know my partner a bit more and then
that's fair too, because it's kind of like just like a new, say, business relationship or friendship. You gotta make sure it works out, and not only works out with your personal, but also with your business too. But I think you are in a great position where it would work for your business, and just like you said, you're like in that like flourish stage. It's just pretty much amplifying everything now times 10, right? Going from there. But I do agree with you on that, because I'm not gonna lie. This year, if you told me March 2025, Eduardo, that you would have a girlfriend, or I'll be like, no, I can't. I'm not ready for that, right? Because I can't take care of myself. How am I going to help another person? You know. But now being in that position where you make those sacrifices, right, and you grow, now you can do more, right? That's what I'm saying. Like those situations that I had this year. And it's funny because I would say this year I lost 2 cars. Well, lost 1 car.
1.5.
1.5. I got one totaled, and I got the other one crashed, and I had to fix it. But those type of moments show me more about life than, you know, maybe a transaction would have, or maybe this would have. So I'm grateful that those happen, right? Those bad things happen, because bad things happen to everybody. It's just really depending on what you do from those bad moments. Am I going to be a bad person, continues to be a bad person because of this, or am I going to change my ways and do better? And for me, I decided to change my ways and do better, because it's really up to what you do now that's going to make sure that you're good in 6 months, 12 months. And some people might think that's cliche. Some people might think that's BS, but it really does matter. And the gym will be a perfect example. You know, maybe every day now you go to the gym, you don't see results, but in 6 months you will, right? Some people just get discouraged if they don't see the results in a couple of weeks, and then just cut it off from there. You know? But, you know, marriage, kids, all that stuff, it's a big topic. I'm definitely happy that I'm in a position where it's actually an open conversation, and not one of those conversations where we have when we were younger. We're like,
right? Now, low-key, I wouldn't mind having a kid right now. If it happened,
little baby Chris.
Little baby Chris.
Yeah, I was thinking about little Eddie too.
Little Eddie?
Little Eddie.
I wouldn't shoot for it, but like if it happened, I would just I'd raise that little guy the best I could.
And I feel like it'll be a big push, right? I feel like it would be a big push. I've always had this
like
anxiety.
The sense of urgency.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've always had this anxiety that, you know, once you have a kid or once you get in a relationship, you're like forced to do these things. But not really. You're just pushed to do better. Be a better man for yourself. Be a better man for your family, your wife. And one person I did learn a lot from that, once again, Alex, fucking 18-year-old realtor, rookie of the year. He has a wife. He has a kid. And I'm just like, if he could do it, why can't nobody else do it? You know, I'm not saying everybody go get a kid, but I'm saying everybody needs some form of push in their life. And for him, I definitely see it was his family, his kid, you know, his future life with them. Because if not, if he just doesn't hold any of that, business doesn't matter to him. It's just all money at that point, right? Now, thinking in that aspect of like, oh, well, maybe I will have a kid, I'll have a family, you know, now that's why we got to push now. Because if not, you know, we're not going to have anything. We're going to be there, you know, hoping that we're going to be, you know, the next big thing, or hoping that we're going to have our business set. And then all that anxiety is just going to push off. But, you know, you're acknowledging it, but you're just not thinking of it in the moment, because you got to think about your business, lending, real estate, whatever the case is. You know, but it's a beautiful motive. Beautiful motive.
No, 100%. I feel like a lot of people, like especially in our industry, say that having a girl is a distraction or whatnot. I kind of disagree. I feel like well, yeah and no, but I feel like for the right person in the right way that you act, like I feel like I feel like it could almost be more distracting to not. Because you're over here, over there, like doing this, like being thirsty, instead of being locked in. Where it's like there's more routine in having a girl than there is not having a girl. No, in the sense where it's like you do your work, and then for me, I usually don't see my girl before like 8, right? So it's like it's not like I'm in the middle of the day in a picnic, like which I've done that kind of stuff. Which that's what I'm saying. It could be a distraction. When I first got as a real estate agent, I had a girl. It was the worst thing that could have happened for me. Like she was very like jealous. She was very insecure, and it was a relationship that wasn't good for me. And it held me down. Whereas I've had the opposite before, where it's like I've had previous girlfriends that were real estate agents, and they helped my business a lot. They referred me business, and they didn't care that I was brand new, and like they let me be myself on social media, going out to events and stuff like that. Whereas like before I had a partner where it's like, nagging, blah, 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 blah. And that kind of stuff could hold you down, whereas like the right person is just going to elevate you.
No, definitely. And it kind of goes back to that thing of what you said earlier, kind of like chasing around different females or different girls. It's like, and you said a girl's not a distraction. I mean, I kind of disagree. I say girls are a distraction, but a woman's not. Right?
So clip
that, chat. Clip that. But in retrospect, that is the reality, right? Because as a man, I feel like a lot of men have this silent struggle that lust, females, going for all of that stuff, which is beautiful. I mean if you see it that way, but then you also got to make sure that you do settle down with your thoughts and ideas of what you really want in life, what you really want to chase. Having those lustful thoughts all the time is just gonna make you collapse. It's gonna like bring you down a lot. So having that idea of like, hey, marriage, relationships, having your woman by the side that's helping you and supporting you, that's the most beautiful thing. Especially in a field like this. Because I remember one story that I would say is I would refer to maybe, let's say, David's story, right? David Dominguez. He always mentioned that when he entered real estate, I think he was 30, that he had his firstborn. And then I always go back to it. I'm just like, damn, like, that's crazy. Like, you started real estate at 30, you got your firstborn around the same time. It's just like, how did you do it then? But then I go back and I'm like, well, it's a different mindset, He has a wife now, he has a kid, so now he has to forcibly push and have that pressure behind him. Good pressure at the end of the day. And now look where he's at. He times 10 his years because he made those sacrifices in the first couple of years. So now he has more time for the kid. And that's kind of what I use. I use different examples, maybe David, Alex. But it's just like, it's true. That's the real life. Instead of chasing all these fantasies, and then you just end up in like a corrupt mindset. Never want to do that.
Yeah, you know what it is? There's a big difference between trying and okay, this is what my guy says. Some people are interested and they'll give it a shot. Yeah. Some people are going to try their best, and some people are obsessed and they're going to do whatever it takes. Yeah. And I feel like, when you're in that mode of doing like whatever it takes, opposed to trying your best, that you're going to make it happen no matter what. You could have a newborn of twins. You could have one girlfriend. You could have 2 girlfriends, 3 girlfriends. You could be homeless. Like, you're just going to do whatever it takes. Like, no excuses and just doing it. Yeah. And so I feel like if you're truly locked in, I don't think it matters if you have a girl or not. Where it's like, I remember a really big real estate professional told me once, he told me, a year from now, you're either going to be with your girlfriend and be unsuccessful, or you're going to be single and successful. And he was 100% wrong. Because a year from now, I had no girlfriend and I was unsuccessful.
Wow, bro.
I was like, I had the worst of both worlds.
Shit, alternate dimension right there. But it's like, I can see that too. It just really depends on the person, right? Yeah. Every person's different. Every person, like one person could be just locked in, have a girl or have a woman, and they're still gonna be locked in. Or somebody might just get cut with distractions. All of that truly doesn't, or it does matter, but at the end of the day, it's really on the person, their work ethic, what they actually really want to do, even then, if they have a girl, they're not going to do the best for them. Maybe they just like, oh, it's cool to have a girl, but you always got to make sure you find that purpose within. right? Because like for you, like what would you say your purpose is in this field or in life, really?
That's a really deep question, man. I think so I think with the branch, my goal is to build an oasis in a sense where I don't think that there's nothing in the mortgage lending field, and I'm not trying to make indirects or nothing. There's a lot of young professionals that have gotten this opportunity thanks to a family member.
Yeah.
Whether it be a cousin, a parent, or an uncle, cousin, whoever the hell, right? Whereas not everybody has that opportunity, right? So there's a difference between being like born in the water and being led to the water. Like that's different. So it's like an oasis is is in a desert where it's like it's dry and barren, and then there's this water. So I look at my office like an oasis where it's like, you know, there's nothing but like distractions and bad stuff elsewhere, and you're gonna go and there's barren land, but you come to this oasis and there's opportunity and there's the water. So I want to build an office where maybe I don't have like 20, 30, 40, 50 people, but I have 2, 3, 4, 5 people that are living a good life, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to give that opportunity to people that don't come from opportunity and are just like in a way able to get that water from the office. So that's the thing that I want to build with the office. Long term, I'm still figuring that out. I think for me, what drives me is innovation and entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And that's why I took the opportunity to be a branch manager. In my opinion, there's nothing impressive about being a top producing like loan officer in a sense where it's like once you figure it out, it's the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Like the difference between the number 1 guy and the number 10 guy is that the number 1 guy does it more than the number 10 guy. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not that he's any more like smarter or more like knows a certain guideline that the other guy doesn't know. It's just a matter of repetition.
Yeah.
And so and I don't mean that like to like kind of like underplay being a top producer. It takes a lot of time and resources. But to me, like in the future, I want to be like a Mark Zuckerberg. I want to be like an Elon Musk, a creator of things. Like to me, it's not anything cool or impressive for me. And I'm not saying in general because I'm talking about myself. Ultimately, like I want to be a pioneer. Like I would love to be someone that changes the way that mortgages are done, right? Not to be someone that was number 1 at their office. That means nothing.
Changes the way business runs and how people perceive it. Right? So now that the next person that goes onto the field, now they have better structure to be successful in it too, right? Which I do see that as a construct because I had like the same idea with mine. Because for me, I visualize like a big office space, big, tall building that's just there to take in people, convert them to successful personnels, go from there. And it could be different fields, right? Maybe it could be an agent recruitment, agent mentorship. Maybe it could be an actual real estate sales. But it's just having what I like to describe it as an enterprise, right? An enterprise built by nothing, but for something, right? Now, it's like, let's say for me, right? Because obviously for us, we were not gifted positions in the field. We were not gifted roles in the business or, clients or all these different things, right? We had to work and pretty much show our own stripes to be where we're at now, right? And that's a process. That's a long process. So my thing with that is, other people are going to have those same struggles. We just help them with that process to be better in life, right? And I kind of get the Oasis part, which is actually a smart construct. I like that. But, definitely something that you always want to just push to do more and push to do different. Because for me, I see the whole plan or the thing that you mentioned with real estate sales being the same thing, it's just somebody else doing more. For me, I see that construct and already I just want to do more. Do more as far as not prospect more, close more, I do want to do those things, but I'm saying do more with what I could already have, right? And by that, let's say instead of just doing sales, maybe I could help agents. Maybe I could help, lenders connect with agents. Just different fields to grow an enterprise. It's not just, sales. Because my thing is I never chase to be top producer of the month, top producer of the year. I always shot to just do better. Just do better every single day. Just do better for me, for my agents, my future family, whatever case that is, right? But just pushing. And just shooting to be different, right? Shooting to be different and always doing different. Because for me, I'm not gonna lie, I have this weird habit. I don't know how to describe it, but even in my bedroom, I change my bedroom style every 3 to 6 months. No exception. I don't know why. I always change the bed, how it goes, how the desk goes, because I always want to just have a different style or different movement in my room, just like how I want to do in the office, right? I hate doing the same thing over and over again, which kind of sucks though, because in this business you kind of do have to do that. But you always want to shoot to do more as well. I don't want to live my whole life, boom, picking up the phone, picking up the phone, picking up the phone. You know, I want to have a team of people that pick up the phone, right? It's just, you always got to innovate, like how you said, and you shoot to do more, because, you know, you could be a good producer for, you know, 2 years, and let's say something drastic happens and you have no system, you have no team. What do you got? You're just out of business for those couple of months, right? So my thinking with that is, it's like anxiety thinking, right? You're just so anxious that fuck, somebody's gonna take this. You're so anxious that something to do, so you just work, just put action, so nobody takes it. Setting up barriers. That's really it.
Yeah.
So,
And no, I mean that's the thing that I am with Blueprint. Obviously, I don't think I'm gonna be working at Blueprint branch manager for my whole life. But I would love to one day drive by like a Blueprint office and be like, damn, I helped build that.
Yeah.
Like that would be super satisfying.
yeah.
But I think we should call it, man.
Cool.
Great conversation. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned for next episode. If you have any suggestions on who I should have, or if you want to be on here, hit me up. But you guys have a little bit of clout. Some of you guys hit me up and you have no clout. Stay in your lane.
See y'all.